I see and hear countless stories in my ministry as proof of just how evil the CAS really can be. I've always opposed the Children's Aid Society, although I've had no personal run-ins with them. I support immediate appointment of an ombudsman as a temporary stopgap measure until a newly created government agency can take over the current duties of the CAS. Once the CAS is defunded by tax dollars, it will be exiled into a well-deserved extinction. Remember a few years ago when control over the blood supply was taken away from the Red Cross and given to the government-run Canadian Blood Services. I want our children to be taken away from the CAS and given to a newly created government agency which is 100% under the control of the Premier of Ontario in matters of judgment, not just money. Our children are as much our blood as that which flows within our veins. The CAS, in my opinion, is arrogant, out of control, a law unto themselves, destructive to society, openly discriminate against Christians, which is why I'm up here speaking. The problems are so extreme, the tree so rotten, that it is beyond reform, and this tree must be chopped down at the root and discarded. Most Canadians are completely misinformed about the CAS. Many of the previous speakers have highlighted these things. And Canadians are actually shocked when I talk to them when they learn how the CAS operates. If we can just educate Canadians of the shocking truth about the CAS, they will rise up en masse and demand immediate changes themselves. This should become a major election issue next provincial election. Yay. Now I've created a top 5 list of the most shocking things Canadians don't know about the CAS. Some of them are being expounded. Number 1, shock 1. The CAS is not a government agency, but a non-profit private charity like a church, corporation. Shock number 2. The CAS, the 53 CAS offices in Ontario have no centralized control, but are independently owned and operated like privately owned bowling alleys in different cities. When they kidnap your kids, there is no higher authority you can appeal to than the local CAS chairman and his small group of board members. Shock number 3. Section 15 of the Child and Family Services Act, which governs them, empowers each local CAS board to act as both judge and jury over how you raise your children, and can legally kidnap them whenever they believe they should, often based upon the personal judgments of a single individual CAS worker. Shock number 4. There is no independent outside oversight, as Randy Hillier mentioned. No CAS watchdog, no CAS ombudsman, no cabinet minister that you can contact to get action. They can do whatever they want, and you are totally powerless unless you resort to legal action. Even if you win in court, the CAS routinely defies court orders to return children when they disagree with the judge. This is why many Ontario lawyers, and I've spoken to them personally, have told me, quote, "Oh, they're a Gestapo, oh, they're a law unto themselves." When the lawyers call the CAS a Gestapo, a law unto themselves, and I've heard it personally, that caught my attention. Shock number 5. There are major critical differences in policy between each of the 53 CAS offices in Ontario. Think about that. Remember, each CAS office is legally independent of the other, so in fact, they have 53 chairmen, 53 boards, and 53 different policies across the province. No uniformity. Now I want you to imagine for a minute. Think about it in this way. Let's get the yellow pages. You open the yellow pages up of Toronto, and you go to the church page, because as a minister, there's hundreds and hundreds of churches in the yellow pages. Close your eyes and just randomly, okay. And you open your eyes, and what happens is the church under your finger, the minister of that church, and his local board of elders, they now are the law in regard to your children in matters of judgment and how you ought to raise them. If you don't obey their personal wishes in that one church, they will have your kids arrested. Now think about that for a minute. I don't agree with that, but even though church ministers are eminently more qualified than anyone in the CAS to render advice on raising children, it is still wrong to put all the children in the province of Ontario under a single church minister and his local board of elders. But that is exactly what you have with the CAS. You have 53 local churches, kind of like one in every town, but not exactly, but sort of. And, you know, a local church and his board of elders, the Toronto CAS as a director, and his local board. Is that okay with you? So the CAS must be defunded. From a religious point of view, the CAS has many things in common with a religion. Personally, I would call them a secular, humanistic religion with anti-Christian policies. They are ideologues with their own set of morals and beliefs that compete with mine about how I and you must raise our children. They have a long track record of being caustically hostile to Christians and churches. Not only are the CAS radical left-wing ideologues, they are also zealots in the true sense of the word. They believe everyone else in the world is wrong, except them. They actively seek to evangelize you, to convert you to their beliefs. When that fails, they resort to the Supreme Court as their enforcement officer. When that fails, they just kidnap your kids. All the kids, maybe, even in a single local church, what happened, they tried to do in Elmer. Or they throw you in jail as an abuser. Or they tell the judge that they suspect that you as a parent are mentally ill. Yeah. Forcing you the humiliation of submitting to a junk science psychiatric assessment that takes 6 months to complete, all the while they have your kids.
And 10 grand.
They will do almost anything to get as many kids as possible for as long as possible, because like public schools, their funding is proportional to the number of kids in their care.